gentlemen, happy Friday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Uncle Tats, and I am waiting on Donald and our guest host. Rob had to work, so he will not be joining us today. But here I am, ready to go. And I do want to give a quick shout out because it has been way too long since we have given everybody a proper roll call. And that, of course, always is on me. So, Jonathan, good morning to you. Always good to see you in the chat. Always know you're going to be there. The subscriber that never sleeps. My adopted child, John the Beagle. How is everything going? I know you're going to be in a meeting, but hope you enjoy this on the replay and enjoy everything. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that share button. Let's get this out. Hit the heart emojis in the bottom of the screen. Let's get this algorithm going and help this channel grow. CT Cards, how is everything going, my guy? Ken, always good to see you as well. And here, let's bring Donald in as we continue the roll call. Where is Donald? Head to the stage. There we go. All right. So
Where's Spencer?
He's going to be here in a second. He's getting assistance, getting the screen up. But Nosebleed, what's going on? Enjoyed the interactions with you and everybody else on NFB's channel yesterday. Hanging out with Nathan. Stephen B, what's going on? What's going on, guy? Who else we got in here? We got my guy Dev Finch is here. Always so loyal. And speaking of the man himself, NFE is in the chat with the Strike Zone. If you're not subscribed to the Strike Zone, what are you doing with your life? Make sure you go over and subscribe. And if you drop the link to your channel, your channel in the chat as well. Anybody that's been living under a rock and has not found you yet, let's make sure that we help you as much as you help us. Lou, what's going on? Good morning, Lou. Always good to have a little debate. Always enjoy your takes as well. FJ, the legend, also in the building with us today. Sean Browning, how is everything going? We got Lynn from the Upper Deck. And make sure you tune into the Upper Deck on Sundays with Sierra. It's a great show that the ladies put on, and they always bring it with all the fun graphics and discussions and everything in between. Damian Serrano, what's going on, Damian? Frederick, always very good friend to the channel. Like I said, it's not even friends. This is all family I'm pointing out right here. So with that being said, Donald, take that sip. Go ahead. That's a cool. What is that on the cup?
It's a hedgehog.
Hedgehog? All right, awesome. What's going on, Medina? Hope everybody is well and ready to have some fun. Just a quick heads up. We do normally after a series, we do awards. We will be postponing the awards until Rob is with us on Monday. So make sure you hit those notification bells and you subscribe for Monday because we were doing a double set of awards with the White Sox series and the Tiger series. So it's going to be a jam-packed show on Monday. So make sure you do not miss out on that. With all of that being said, Donald, why do you think they keep pitching to Judge? I mean, Judge this past series was freaking lights. You couldn't stop them. And I wanted to throw Wells into the mix too. Wells had a phenomenal series. But
are we forgetting about Juan Soto who had 4 straight at bats hitting home runs?
Yeah, 4 straight at bats with a home run, which has not been done since 1977 when Reggie Jackson did it. So he has now entered that elite club. Judge enters the elite club of the fastest to 300 in 955 games. It was, so it was the Juan Soto show. You couldn't stop him. You really couldn't. What I liked was kind of the rare bravado from Judge, where when they intentionally walked Soto to get to him, he took it personal. He's like, all right, I'm going to make the motherfuckers pay for that one. And, he delivered. So how are you feeling? I mean, we all know that he's probably the greatest player that we've ever seen. That debate could be had. There's a lot of players you could insert into the conversation, but they're not Judge. Sorry. It's not. It's just he's just on another level from anybody.
Was there a question?
Nope. Throwing it to you.
Aaron Judge, man, he's the Greek god of home runs. That's my new nickname for him. He's like Judge, the Greek god of home runs. He's just crazy, bro. He's just crazy. He's the best power hitter, like, of the last 60 years or something like that, of this generation anyway. He's absolutely amazing to watch. Very, very blessed to have him and Juan Soto as a duo. It's quite insane, man. I mean, imagine having a weekend or a series where Judge hits his 300th career home run, the fastest ever to do it, and in the same series you had Juan Soto hit 4 home runs. It's crazy what we're seeing. Crazy what we're seeing from those two guys.
Yeah, the two of them combined this year, that's video game shit. Yeah. It's not supposed to happen. It shouldn't happen. But when you have those two on the roster, it's going to happen. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from it. Steven's throwing up in the chat some stats on Wells. I want to address this real quick because it is rather remarkable that he's had these numbers. Wells starting in the cleanup spot, batting .362, 3 doubles, a triple, 2 homers, 7 walks, 13 RBIs, in 15 games with 14 starts. Right? Holy shit! And this is exactly what we needed behind Judge. It really is. Let's get your take on those stats while I bring up Spencer.
Yeah, he needs to be in the cleanup role from now on. Wells is incredible. I think he's the best young player that we've developed. He's better than Volpe. Stand by. He's got everything. He's a great defensive player, and he's got power, and he hits for average too. Right, 362 from the cleanup spot. Excellent. I'm really liking Wells, man. They better not screw around with him. They start like doing this freaking situational thing where Trevino plays against lefties. I will be pissed. Wells needs to be playing 80%, if not 90% of the games. I don't want to see any Trevino, to be honest.
I feel the same way, Donald. I mean, it's working. Austin Wells, it's working. He's on a roll. Let it play out. Now, if eventually he goes into a slump, what can you do? But, don't fix what ain't broke.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's one of these, that saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Yankees never heard of that. If it's working, change it up. Maybe something else will work too. That's it. And it won't work. But they definitely have to keep Wells in the cleanup spot is really where he looks the most comfortable. Because it's also matched with the consistent playing time.
Yeah, he's succeeding.
And I hope that with Trevino coming back, he's got to be the backup catcher. None of this platoon stuff. I think that has to be a thing of the past. What's going on now? Long time no see. but yeah, Wells is the everyday catcher. Needs to be the heart of the order, and they have to give him that consistency. They can't put cold water on him at all, and that's I think that's the fear of what we're gonna see. But, Spencer, you came in a couple minutes late. All good. No harm, no foul. But
Thanks,
it's good to
Bobby.
see you hanging out with us. But let's get your take on the Soto Judge combo in that lineup and what they were able to do in Chicago.
Well, it's pretty remarkable. I think with the Soto Judge, it's really what we are seeing is what we expected it to see. We expected Soto to be the guy to get on base and Judge to be the guy to knock him in. It's really nice that Juan Soto also has power. It's nice to have another guy on the team that has 30 home run potential already achieved and has 40 home run potential. That is a real nice combination to have. Just going on a tangent a little bit, that's what you want in baseball. Baseball really is all about the home runs. It's about the power. And the Yankees define the home runs and they define the power. So like when I see Judge and I see Soto, it's really something bigger than baseball to me. And that's what I love about it. We were remarking, or I think you guys were remarking recently about, power duos. We haven't seen a power duo like this since Mantle and Maris. Oh yeah, that's right. I remarked that, the Dave Winfield, Reggie Jackson duo, that was kind of a power duo, but we really didn't get to see that because that was in 1981. It was a strike shortened season and it only lasted for not even a full season. So it's really nice to see Soto and Judge achieving the definition of what I think the New York Yankees are, and I think what most people think the New York Yankees are. I would stick with this also. I would stick with Soto in the 2 and the 3. I think it helps us out in the long run. I think it's what you want for those situations where, we might be trailing late in games or we might be tied in games. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I think with the emergence of Wells in the cleanup spot, I think we can put the conversation of switching them in the order to rest.
Yeah.
Especially while Wells is hot.
Yeah.
Because he's come up. It's just I don't think we'll ever see this. This is why we need to we need this in the lineup next season and for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Throughout Judge's tenure, Soto's got to be the guy that's right next to him.
Yeah.
It's hard to even put into words just how remarkable. How many adjectives can you come up with for these guys?
I mean, if the Yankees were a band, it would be like Juan Soto is the lead singer and Aaron Judge is the guitarist with Mystique, Almost Famous, that's what it's like,
See, now you have my wheels turning. What would be the singer-guitarist combination?
It's like David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen to me.
See, that's the first one that did come to mind. But being everybody, most of everybody is a music fan. I know the three of us are big music fans as well.
Yeah.
But drop in the comments if you had to put a combo in the music world to the excitement of Soto and Judge. I'm curious what you guys would come up with. Donald,
just went to the show today. I'm wearing my my number 99. I don't know if
there you go.
See that. So happy with Aaron Judge today. No name on the jersey as it should be.
Good morning, Izzy. Like number 15. Let's get these likes up. We got 25 people in chat right now. Smack the like button. Lynn's throwing out Lennon and McCarthy. That's also a very good combo. It's Page and Plant. Is another one that you could put.
It's heavy.
As far as with. Let's switch it up for a quick second. Let's talk about the call-up of Peraza, okay? Because here's going to be my issue, right? This is when you have these situations where somebody is just going to get screwed out of everyday playing time. Is it going to be Peraza himself? Are they going to give him the Vivas treatment from earlier, where they just have him sitting on the bench, or are they going to figure out a way to strategically and successfully get him into the lineup, and in a position? The way I would do it is I would have Cabrera at third, Volpe at short, Peraza at second, and Rice at first, with Wells behind the plate. And while we have the quote unquote softer part of the schedule, let's see if the Yankees' investments have actually been worth it before we even get into September, the September call-ups. Donald, that alignment in the infield with the catcher, does that make you feel comfortable?
I was actually while you were talking there, I was looking at the stats of Dave Winfield and Reggie Jackson in 1981 to see if I think Aaron Judge and Juan Soto clears. That's for sure. But
it's a sentimental pick, Donald. Sentimental.
All right, give me that alignment again.
So we'll have Cabrera at third, Volpe at short, Peraza at second. There you go, the Reggie bar. I like that. Peraza at second, Rice at first, with Wells continuing to be the everyday catcher behind the plate. Do you think that could be a success, or would you tweak any of it?
I like it. I think DJ's actually been playing pretty well lately. He's making some solid contact. I wouldn't hate having him play maybe first base right now, because I do believe that our guy's going through a little bit of a cold streak right now, so maybe take advantage of DJ being a little hotter. So I would maybe have him play first. Second base, I mean, Torres has actually been playing pretty well, in fairness to him. He's hitting fairly well, and his defense has been a little better. And making some nice backhand grabs and showing a little bit of nice range there. So I wouldn't really necessarily tweak the second. Shortstop, Volpe is Volpe. To be honest, I would love to get. I can tend to agree with L. I would love to give him a day off or two to work on his swing, because it's got a massive hole in it right now, and he looks terrible. But they're not going to change that, so he's going to be short. Third, I would maybe have Peraza third, but I'd be happy. I'd love to see Peraza play some shortstop. Just I don't know why Volpe gets everyday status. I don't know if he's an everyday player right now. I think he should maybe get a day off or two just to get his bat together. That's what I think. But at least there's some versatility in this infield. Ozzy's actually played very well. You're right, Uncle Tats. He has played very well. He likes. He loves runners in scoring position.
I've been yelling at you about it.
From the left side, the runners in scoring position.
Yep.
He always tends to put together a really solid at bat. So if you want to have him play third base, you're not going to get an argument from me and put Peraza at second or short, and that's fine with me too. But they should be playing Peraza. They need to. They can't have him just sit, because he's doing really well in AAA. He's batting well over 300. He's tons of extra base hits. He needs to be playing. He needs to be playing fairly regularly. Have we got a timeline yet on Jazz?
No, it's just the 10-day IL right now. They haven't given, unless I've missed it. Let me know in the chat. Let us know. No, there's no. I haven't seen a specific timeline.
It's weird that we don't have a timeline yet.
No, it is
10-day IL, but I expect that IL to be modified to a 30-day IL, and right. I'm just trying to be realistic about Jazz Chisholm's injury. Although, what a way to lose a guy. I mean, scoring from home in a game where you get blown out 12-2 against the worst team in baseball. I mean, that's a heck of a way to lose a guy.
Oh, it's terrible bad luck, man. We've been waiting years to have somebody that has speed to score from second base on an infield single.
Yeah.
It's like Keith McPherson was referencing some of the players that we've gotten on the IL that was supposed to be that energy boost to the offense, which has been kind of the hiccup of the postseason is run production, right? We brought in Encarnacion. He gets hurt. When he comes back, he's just not the same hitter.
Yeah.
Matt Carpenter, was another one that he referenced. And now we have Jazz. It really is unfortunate because every time that we think, it's like one step forward, two steps back when it comes to his trade acquisitions.
It's deflating. It's like you get a flat tire on the New Jersey Turnpike and you got the spare. You change the tire, you're on your way again. Then the other tire flat.
See, that's a highway reference that makes sense. Not like mine.
That highway reference was amazing.
Well, thank you.
I was referring to Tats. Yours was just straightforward. Tats's one was.
I was all over the place. I was cruising down.
Right here on
Well, it's fun to see where you're going, Tats.
Yeah. But give us your takes on the infield alignment with the
guys, you're gonna have to forgive me, and I risk future invitations to the Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm just not as big on Peraza as you guys are. From the times that he's been up here, he's been good, he's been decent, he's gotten the occasional clutch hit. Fields very well, handles pop-ups pretty well. But, not to the point where I think, wow, we've got to keep this guy. Wow, we got to bring this guy up. If they bring him up, okay. But I'm not like sitting, back on my couch, anxious for them to bring up Peraza. He's an okay player. He's decent. Now, the answer to this would be if Peraza will be able to prove me wrong. Because we know that when he goes to the bat, or he's in the field, he's thinking to himself, I got to prove this guy Spencer wrong. He doesn't really have that much confidence in me. I'm not saying that he's a bad player. I'm just saying, I can see other options besides Peraza. I do like Cabrera at third base. I think Cabrera should be getting more of a chance. I think he's, been good for the Yankees. He's come through in the clutch. He's got postseason experience. He's a guy that you definitely want there. Volpe, I'm willing to be patient with Volpe again. He's an everyday player. Slumps are just part of the game. So I'm not as down on him as other Yankee fans are. But that's not to say that the other Yankee fans are justified in being down on him or are not justified in being down on him. And DJ, I think he's slowly but surely coming around. But I was with you guys, when we were remarking about, getting rid of him, DFAing him. I mean, it was really tough, like seeing his career reduced to the point where he was now just late game infield replacement, defensive replacement. So Peraza, take it or leave it. If they're not going to bring him up, I'm okay with that. But I'm also acknowledging that I'm in the minority on that opinion too.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to get him everyday playing time. Give Peraza a chance to, assure us of our hopes for him, and at the same time, some of the guys that are not as high on him, like Spencer, and I'm sure that believe me, you're not the only one. But give him a fair chance, because they really have not given him that.
Yeah,
it's almost like the Florial treatment. They play him a couple of games. He has one bad at bat. He's back on the bench rather than try to work through it. You're like I said. What made me think of that infield is to give these kids that they've invested their time and their money into through the minor league system. Let's see if you put your money where your mouth is on holding on to these guys in trades. These are guys that were not available, but they don't want to use them. Well, it's time to reverse that script because we're tired of seeing a lot of these prospects not get moved for quality players and just not get a shot to play.
Yeah. I think the only little switch that I would make, Bob and Don, is I might feel more comfortable if DJ was at third and Peraza was at first base. because DJ has never really impressed me at first base. It doesn't look like a natural fit for him. Has difficulties again, like with pop-ups. He's made some errors. For me, at least, they were kind of memorable errors. It just looks like a square where a circle should be when it comes to him being at first base. Second base, third base, I'm fine with that. I'm a little leery with him being there. Eventually there's going to be a play where a throw goes in the dirt and he's not going to be able to scoop it up, or a grounder's, going to hit off of him. That might be easier for a better first baseman. I think Peraza is better suited at first base. He's more flexible and he's hungry to be on the field too. That's just me.
Yeah, just to give you some of the comments here in response to what you just said.
Yeah.
We had LA Yankee King. Peraza has a better arm and can play first. His infield arm is what's really his value. So putting him at first is kind of taking that strength away from him. So I see that. And NFE also responds respectfully, pass on Peraza at first. So a lot of people are feeling nosebleed sections actually saying Cabrera can play first.
Yeah.
But why is nobody saying just leave Rice at first base? Can somebody explain that to me?
Coleman is right. DJ did make 3 really good plays at first base recently.
Yeah, if you don't want to have LeMahieu at first, just plug him at second and use Peraza and Volpe to kind of platoon shortstop to get Volpe a chance to catch his breath. Yeah. I think Peraza should be playing short tonight.
I think the biggest concern that I have right now is the after effect of the loss of Jazz Chisholm. Jazz, single-handedly, by his abilities, by his reputation, by his attitude, changed this team around. It's not unfair to consider giving him some kind of MVP award for the Yankees for consideration. Obviously, everybody's going to say, no, it's Aaron Judge, and I'm in agreement with you on that. But his contribution to turning the Yankees around has to be acknowledged. The concern that I have is his loss going to have an after effect where the Yankees regress a little bit, and we certainly don't want that to happen. The hope is that they can continue with the momentum that they have upon his arrival.
Yeah, and one of the arguments with the shortstop position with Volpe is he's played 121 games out of 122.
Wow.
So he's a kid. How much rest could he use? Yeah. They have off days. They've had rainouts. It's not. It used to be. You didn't want to come off. You didn't want to be on the bench for a game. You wanted to play every day.
Yeah.
Look at Soto. Nobody's crying about Soto playing every day.
Right.
Because Boone knows he'll be stuffed in a locker if he benches him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I can see if you're a veteran and you want to give them time off like a LeMahieu or when Rizzo was healthy. To play these guys, every day is not. It's really not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
You want to give Volpe tonight a breather with Peraza at short, just to, because he has been struggling with the plate. I could totally agree with that. But Donald, what do you think about the kids with the everyday play and the new school versus the old school?
Right. So there's quite a lot to unpack. So first of all, you're talking about square pegs and round holes. Putting Peraza at first base is a definition of a square peg and a round hole, right? A dude is an elite shortstop and an excellent range at third base. So he needs to be playing there, man. I ain't messing around with that. As for Peraza, he hasn't really been given an opportunity. When he first came up, he was good. You'd be surprised at his stats. In 2022 and 18 games, he had a 300 batting average, 400 OBP, and an 800 OPS. And he barely struck out. And so that's why I'm saying he wasn't bad. Came up in 2022. He gave you that. If we got even a little bit, from Volpe, we'd be delighted, but we haven't. 2023, he was bad. Right, I get that. But the Yankees haven't helped him. The Yankees have treated him like Clint Frazier, but he's always been up and down, up and down, up and down. They haven't given him a chance. So I'm just saying, they've given Volpe the keys to the kingdom, and they haven't given Peraza a fair shot.
Yeah.
Now, I would just like to see Peraza get even a third of the opportunities that Volpe has, just so I can see if there is that massive a difference. Because Volpe plays every single day, doesn't miss a day, which is good to his credit. But also, it shows that there's kind of double standards there, because that dude goes in long, prolonged slumps. It doesn't seem to phase the Yankees, but Peraza has one at bat that they don't like, and he's down in AAA for 6 months. Yeah. So it doesn't seem very fair to me. That's my argument. So I would give Peraza a shot while he's here, but I know the Yankees, and they won't, because they just don't like him. And if the organization, whether it's the analytics, I think it's the analytics, if it's the analytics combined with Boone and Cashman, and they aren't all in on a guy, then they just don't give him that opportunity. And that will always remain the case. Volpe, whatever it is that they see with Volpe, they will play him every day.
It does raise a lot of questions, Donald. You're right about that. It doesn't make sense at all. Even I was like giving up on Volpe when he was in that prolonged slump. It's fortunate that he came out of it. But whatever the Yankees' thinking is, what it tells me is, man, I really don't know baseball as good as I think I know baseball, if they're making that kind of decision. And respectfully, the same can be said about Peraza too. I don't see what everybody else is seeing, but I'm willing to, accept that I don't know everything, and that if the kid's given a chance, he'll surprise guys like me. Absolutely.
Nosebleed, what option do they have? I think it was. I think it's perfect for them just to have him at the edge of the bench, because they've been doing this a lot to him. You look at his transaction history, all they do is just send him up and send him down. So it's nothing unusual for Peraza. Yeah, they could have called up Durbin, but as I'm saying, I don't think that they have plans to use Peraza that much. So that's probably why they didn't call up Durbin. Yeah, because there would probably be expectations to play Durbin more.
You want to roll with the infield. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. I just want to get my say in. I'm really surprised and pleasantly surprised about how well Austin Wells has been, because I was one of the guys saying, it's just not going to happen with this guy. He's not the next big Yankee catcher. Let's see who we can get for him in a trade. So it's nice to see him succeeding and helping the team.
No, the caveat with Wells was consistent playing time. Yeah. Which is what we were all kept saying. If you play him, let's see what you have. And we're seeing the payoff. Yeah. They put their faith in Volpe, and it was paying off. He's in a slump now. Every player goes through it. But it seems like if you're not in the cool clique, you're going to get the bench treatment. We saw that. We've seen that with so many players, and we've seen players that they've given too much of a leash to, that really didn't deserve it. So it's a who do they like more than the other, rather than who's going to help us. Who's going to help us succeed, and that's what the Yankees need to fix.
But we are going off on a tangent. We should get back to Judge and Soto, considering is them. The infield alignment is what it is. I don't think it's going to change. It's not going to change. The Yankees are pretty much set. I think they're set on Torres at second. Volpe is short. They're happy with Ozzy probably playing third base. Maybe a little DJ at third, but I think they're pretty settled at DJ at first right now. And platooning with Ben Rice. So I think that's probably what the infield is going to remain. Peraza will just be a bit part option until they can make another move. I'm pretty sure of that. But I hope that they do give Peraza a shot. It would be cool to see. But anyway, let's get back to Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. 4 home runs from Soto is pretty historic in just 2 games.
Yeah.
3 in 1 game. This is remarkable. What a remarkable talent.
Yeah.
My question to you, Spencer, is how much has that raised his value in free agency? Is he now going to be what kind of price now are we looking at?
I mean, if he hits 40 home runs, and hits 300 or close to 300, it's going to be a very, very high price. I mean, I can't help but think it's going to be anything less than $50 million a year. And he's probably going to want something like 12 or 13 years in his contract.
Yeah.
And, from listening to, the talk shows, Michael Kay, some of the other shows, some of the podcasts. A good one to listen to, by the way, is the show with Joel Sherman and John Heyman. It feels like, when you narrow it down, it's going to be a battle between the Yankees and the Mets. I think the Yankees would ultimately win in a battle like that, but it wouldn't surprise me if Steve Cohen wowed Soto with something like an Ohtani contract, like $70 million a year. But he is going to command big numbers. He already turned down a $400 million plus contract with Washington, you have to remember. So the price is going to be high for Soto. And listen, Soto knows his value too. He's not going to give any type of a hometown discount. He knows his value. He knows what he does for a team. He knows what he does for Major League Baseball, and he's going to rightfully, seek what he should get. So I expect it to be very, very high. Every home run that he hits, every RBI he knocks in, makes his value a little bit higher and a little bit higher. I don't think we're looking at a $60 million a year contract, but it wouldn't surprise me if Steve Cohen said, "Hey, I'll give you 60."
Well, see, this is where you brought up the contract he turned down from Washington. That's what leads me to believe that, yeah, he wants to make his money, and he's going to get the most of it for his value. And believe me, every one of us would do the same thing.
Yeah,
but he turned down that kind of money at that age. I don't think that it's a matter of how much he's making. I think there's a factor of where he's playing. Yeah. And the Yankees do make the most sense because they can give him the max value.
Yeah.
And also think of the marketing of it.
Yeah.
It's the advertisements, the sponsorships, all that in the mix. The Yankees also have the secret weapon of Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Who's going to give him the best, the best chances to win? Aaron Judge or Pete Alonso? Who does he want to go back to back with?
Yeah.
And we don't even know if Pete's going to even be there next year because he's
I don't think he is
as well.
Yeah, but that's
but that's that's their problem.
Yeah.
But I do think the Yankees do have. I think they have the advantage. I think if it really came down to the two teams in a bidding war, I don't think it's necessarily going to be who the highest bidder is. I think who has the better pitch.
Bobby, I think
who has more to offer.
Yeah.
Outside of the contract, and I think the winner for that is the Bronx.
I think, Bobby, it's a question of how fast can Hal Steinbrenner open up his checkbook. How eager is Hal Steinbrenner ready to get in a contract that's bigger and longer than what he did for Aaron Judge? I think the contract for Aaron Judge was a little bit, tough for him to follow through with, even though he got before the microphone and parlayed, how he was eager and got involved with getting Judge to come here. It was still a pretty high price to get Aaron Judge. Now he's got to get someone for an even higher price and for more years. I think that's what we're looking at as well. He deserves it, though.
Donald, what do you think about it?
So, Juan Soto is just is just having a crazy year. He's easily going to eclipse 40. 35 was his total last year. He's already on 34.
Yeah.
His OBP is way better, and he's going to have more walks than he had last year, and he's going to get more RBIs than he did. Like, he is having an amazing walk here. And what I believe is the Yankees wouldn't have made this trade if they hadn't already made provisions with their luxury tax as for next year. I think they very much have. They made that trade with the ambition to extend him 12 years, 13 years, whatever it takes. And I think they've made provisions in order to allow to being able to afford it. So they wouldn't have made that trade without having a full belief that they can extend him. I do believe that. So I think that the Yankees will have a leg up on that. It was a really smart deal from Brian Cashman because, if you can prove yourself as a Yankee and then you have the Yankee fans on your side and you have the whole city on your side and you win in New York, it means more than winning anywhere else times 1,000. It just does with the Canyon of Heroes, and you're already a hero status. If you win with the Yankees, it just means a whole hell of a lot more. As for the New York media saying it's between the Yankees and the Mets, I don't believe it. I don't, because what did we hear about Yamamoto last year? It was the same thing. Oh, it's between the Mets and the Yankees. It's going to be Cohen's money versus the Yankees' legacy kind of nonsense, right? Where did he go? He went to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I really do overrate. I really do think that the New York media, especially WFAN and all that stuff, they overrate what the Mets can offer.
Yeah.
They had to overpay times 1,000 to even get Lindor to extend. Now Lindor was great this year, but they had to severely overpay to get him even locked down. They have to do that because they're the Mets, right? And they just don't have that cachet. And I'm not shitting on the Mets, but they just don't. They just don't have that big cachet. Now, they're going to get guys in because they can offer the most money, but they have to do that.
Yeah.
Scherzer didn't want to go to the Mets, but they had to overpay with themselves just to get him, right? So that's what they have to do, and that doesn't necessarily have to happen if you're in LA because you've got the sun, the sea, and the sand, and the luxurious style of living that's appealing to ball players. So for me, I would say the West Coast or the Yankees. I think is still probably what it's going to come down to with Juan Soto.
To add what you were saying, Donald, one thing that the stats don't show is what Juan Soto brings to the table in the clubhouse, to the team, the energy that he puts in the Yankees, the winning feeling that he brings to the Yankees. He brings all these intangibles to the table. Remember, this is a guy who's already won a World Series championship. So he knows what it takes to win, and he wants that taste to win. He doesn't want to end each season with a division series loss, an ALCS loss. This guy wants to win. He's a winner. He's hungry for it, and that rubs off on the other guys in the clubhouse as well, in the locker room. And I'm going to use another movie quote here. I'm going to take one from the film You Don't Mess with the Zohan. That's an Adam Sandler film. The New York Mets are like the electronics store of New York baseball, and the electronics store is where you go where dreams die. I don't think Juan Soto wants to go to the Mets, no matter how much money they give him, because it will just result in a career of frustration if your goal is to win a World Series. It's just not going to happen with the New York Mets. For whatever reason it is, the Mets are cursed. No matter who they bring in, no matter how much the owner spends, they just can't get their foot in the door of the World Championship room.
So
Yeah, and the media overrate what they can provide. They kept saying to me that they kept saying to everyone, "Oh, Yamamoto is between the Mets and the Yankees." Yamamoto had no intention to go to the Mets. This was a distant third. Distant third. Frederick, I don't understand what you're talking about. Donald, we don't know how far the Dodgers are going in the playoffs.
we don't know how far any team's going to go.
I never mentioned anything about the Dodgers in the playoffs. I only mentioned how Yamamoto went to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It was the Dodgers that he chose to go to because he wasn't interested in being in a Met. That was my only point. So I think that the media here overrate what the Mets provide. I'm not shitting on the Mets. As I say, the Mets are having a good year. Arguably, they're exceeding expectations more than the Yankees have exceeded their expectations. The Mets have probably played better within themselves. They're having a good year, but they don't really have much cachet. They've got tons of money, and Cohen can offer all that money, but they have to offer 10 times more than anybody else just to make it more even. So,
it's
that's
more.
going to change. But I'm also saying I don't think the Yankees necessarily have what the cachet that they used to have. It's not like in the 90s and the thousands where basically anyone that we wanted would get. There wasn't a question about it. Now there's actually a question. So it's different now. That's absolutely a fact. It is a little different now. But I do believe that Brian Cashman made a genius move because it gave Juan Soto a 12-month test run in New York. And he's just aced it.
Oh, yeah.
And Yankee fans are as in love with Soto as they are with Aaron Judge already. So, I mean, for me, why would Soto want to leave? He's absolutely beloved.
Yeah.
There's a huge community of Dominicans in the Bronx. So he's at home with it. And he's at home at Yankee Stadium. He's just crushing it there. And he's got an opportunity of he's so good that he'll get his number retired if he extends. He is that good.
And Donald, just like the aforementioned Reggie Jackson, Juan Soto isn't coming here to be a star. He's bringing his star to the New York Yankees.
Facts.
Yeah. I've said this. I think it's going to be a 14, 15-year contract. I think he's gonna, be well. It's gonna be between. It's got to be. It has to be between 45 and 50 million a year to even get him to even listen. But I also it came up with the opt-outs in the comments.
Yeah.
I offer he's 25 now. At 29, give him an opt-out, and then at 33, give the Yankees an opt-out. This way, it's a win-win for both both ends.
I just feel, Bobby, that he's in control. The Yankees could ask for that opt-out, but I think it's much harder for them to get the opt-out than to give him the opt-outs. Just my feeling on that.
It's like I say, it's that's what I would do.
Yeah,
it's the starting point in negotiation.
It makes sense.
And the other thing was, the Yankees just have that swagger, right? He's already here.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be the same thing. I don't think there's going to be any hesitation with Hal.
Yeah.
He knew he assessed the whole situation before even making the trade. He knew what he was getting into when he even inquired about him when he was still at Washington.
Yeah.
Hal's very well aware of the financial, payout for a player of his caliber. And he's only gotten better since coming to the Bronx. If he was given this type of production in San Diego, I don't think they even think of moving him. I think they feel like they can get their money back on that investment, but the Padres didn't think he had it.
Yeah.
You didn't think he was it. And the Padres put themselves in a terrible financial situation to begin with.
Yeah.
So they made their own bed. They had to lie in it, and they had to cut their losses. The other thing is two things. Judge doesn't care how much the Juan Soto makes.
No.
Judge cares how successful the two of them can be.
Right.
Judge's concern is the team winning. He's not about himself. Don't you know that right now? And that goes to Boomer's comment. the Yankees cannot, pay, you can't, upset the captain paying somebody more than him. Yes, you can.
I don't believe that.
And he's not going to be upset about it. So here it is. A non-Yankee fan thinks that they know what's best for our team.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. We're not discussing the terrible year that Alonso's having. We're talking about the terrible year our own walk guy is having with Torres.
Yeah.
You stay in our lane. Stay in your lane.
I would expect someone like, our friend and favorite radio voice, Sal Licata, to say something like that. I'm a little surprised to hear.
Sal Licata's been very reasonable, knowing that the Yankees have a better shot than the Mets do.
Yeah. I'm a little.
He changes his mind every week.
Like
when the Mets blew the Yankees out, he was screaming that the Mets are guaranteed to make the playoffs, and the Yankees are a joke and they're a disgrace and need to sell their entire team. And now he's had to climb off that a little bit. Now he's like,
yeah.
oh. You know what I mean? It's like,
put the pom poms down.
yeah, I know, like, all right, just like chill out. Acevedo here, I think he seems to think that I'm saying that there's some sort of money constraint with Juan Soto and the Yankees. I've never once mentioned that. As you say here, he's like, I understand that you're spot on. Of course they can afford him. Sorry, Donald, Yankees twice or four times the money they used to make. I mean, I haven't said otherwise. They have a ton of money. But Al Steinbrenner has said himself, he's like, I've got shareholders to answer to and all that stuff.
I'm so
there's two comments.
And he's like, I don't want my payroll to be exceeding where it is right now. He's put those constraints in. I'm not putting those constraints in. The Yankees can afford to do double that if they want to. So it ain't nothing to do with me, my man. Of course they can afford Soto. Of course they can. And of course they should. And to be honest, of course they will. They wouldn't have made that trade unless they know that they can bring him back. And they will. And I think they will be able to offer more. I'm pretty sure they will. And there was one debate whether Hal Steinbrenner will be afraid to pay Juan Soto more per year than they're paying Aaron Judge, as he's the captain. Do you think that's going to be an issue?
No, absolutely not. And Bobby, I'm sorry for cutting you off because I know you want to get your answer in there also. But I mean, like you, I'm chomping at the bit to reply to that. No, absolutely not. It is exasperating hearing talk show hosts and anybody that's in sports, saying that. Really, they're only saying that just to stir the pot, as they say. Aaron Judge, he got his money. He got his contract. There's nothing you can do about that. 5 years from now, another player will be making their money. They'll be getting their contract. That's just the way that baseball goes. You're only at the top of the mountain when it comes to contracts for a very, very quick period of time. So no way is he worried about that. No way is that even a concern. And look at Aaron Judge. He gives all deference to Giancarlo Stanton. So much for him feeling like he's the big guy in the clubhouse. Aaron Judge answers to Big G. Okay, so I have no concerns. I have no concerns about who's making a little bit more money. And listen, Juan Soto is younger than Aaron Judge. He's going to be around a few more years than Aaron Judge.
Facts.
And now is the time. Now is the time to strike. You're only going to have Aaron Judge in his peak years for a little bit longer. 3 or 5 years from now, we're going to be talking about how Aaron Judge is getting older. He's starting to break down, strikes out more, doesn't have as much power as he used to have. That time is approaching, and it's going to be here sooner than we know it. So the time to strike and give ourselves the best chance to get a World Series title winning team is now. And I think Hal is more inclined to do that. And I don't think it bothers Aaron Judge at all. No way. That's ridiculous.
Absolutely agreed. But that was something I heard on I think it was on game. It's not like that. And I was like, that's nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
It is. And we do have the money coming off the books. That was one of my next points to bring up was, the players we are losing in free agency. But that's also why it circles back to what we were discussing earlier with the infield alignment. Because these are guys that still are under team control that you can have, you can groom them up here to be legitimate, and very reliable. options for the roster for next year when you do have a little bit higher of a payroll.
Yeah.
So that's definitely not going to be an issue. The money is not the issue.
Yeah.
Right? Hal had every right to say what he said. Right? We disagreed with it at the moment. We came on here. We're like, all right, are you trying to tell us that you're going to have a very hard cap on Soto? No, that's not the case. If Cohen wants to give him an Ohtani contract, I do not think in any way in hell Cashman goes, I'll beat that. That's not, it's got to be within reason. And Hal's also getting pissed off about having this high payroll and having the shared revenue, giving it to teams that don't want to try to play.
That's right.
Hey,
so he's like, I'm tired of giving my money away in this luxury tax.
Yeah.
I want to shrink my payroll, so my money is going to my team.
It's fair.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know what else?
This financial restraint.
It's not about penny pinching. You're right. It's not about penny pinching. It's about I think everyone supports parity to some extent, but not at the expense of your own team.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, I keep cutting you guys off, but one thing I wanted to comment on that you mentioned, Donald, and we hear it a lot, that Hal Steinbrenner has to answer to his shareholders. I am sick and tired of hearing the excuse of Hal having to answer to his shareholders. Now, I'm sure that you can get out the paperwork and show me the legalities of his ownership of the New York Yankees. I'm sure it's structured in that way. I'm sure technically that's how it works. But let us all be clear. Everybody in the chat listening, and tell your friends this. Hal Steinbrenner doesn't answer to anybody. He is the goddamn owner of the New York Yankees. He owns the team. He answers to nobody. Let me ask you a question. Do you really think that Randy Levine is scared of Hal Steinbrenner? Do you really think that if Hal Steinbrenner makes a big decision, he's shaking in his pants because of what Randy Levine or Lon Trost or Brian Cashman thinks? You really think that he's quivering in his pants about what they could do to him? No freaking way. Hal Steinbrenner is the owner of the team, and I just wish they would stop giving this goddamn excuse how he's got to answer to the shareholders. Hal Steinbrenner answers to no one but Hal Steinbrenner. There. Thank you.
Bravo, Spencer. Bravo.
Are you on piano underneath there?
Yep. I quit that for the first bang of the I'm like, that's not a table.
Yeah, and as you can tell by my notes, I never had a lesson.
And Lynn just threw in the comments for you, Spencer. She loves ranting Spencer.
Thank you.
No, it's going to be it's going to continue to just be this ongoing topic as we get deeper into the season. But we are still in a season to play. So before we do sign off for the weekend, let's give our takes on the upcoming series with the Tigers and the expectations therein. Spencer, what are your expectations for the series?
You know me, Bobby. It's hard for me to predict. I'm so locked into how baseball is an unpredictable sport. Obviously, I feel like the Yankees should take the series. They're a better team than the Tigers. As you've heard me comment to you before, or texted to you in my comments, it's all about the execution. So if the Yankees execute better than the Tigers, then they are going to win 2 out of 3 or sweep this series. I do think it was a good idea for Major League Baseball to have the Yankees and the Tigers be the showcase team for the Little League series. Now, I'm not really too crazy about having Major League Baseball make a special game for the Little League series, but anytime you have these showcase games, I think it's always a good idea to have not just the Yankees in it, but to have a classic baseball team for them to go up against, just like when we went up against the White Sox in the Field of Dreams game. So this is a good idea for Major League Baseball. It would not be the same if you had the Yankees playing the Marlins or you had the Yankees playing the Diamondbacks. This was a good idea by the by Major League Baseball. But I think they should have a good series. Right now, Soto is hot. Aaron Judge is hot. Austin Wells is hot. it's a pivotal series also. This is really the first series that we're going to have without Jazz Chisholm. So we're going to see if that causes any breaks in the Yankee levee dam.
Yeah, no, I see. I actually really like the idea of the Little League game because what has baseball been trying to do? Capture the youth.
Yeah.
This is the way to do it.
Right.
Let them showcase, their big team with the Yankees. And I agree with you 1,000% with having a team like Detroit,
Yeah.
who are one of the original franchises, be a part of it.
Yeah.
I think it's very important because it also gives everybody a little bit of the history at the same time. But no, I think it's going to be a 2 out of 3 series. I think it's Sunday when we go against Scooball. I think that might be a game that gets away from us because the bats could be shut down. But it's a very unpredictable game. It's hard to sweep on the road. We just saw that with the White Sox. But I think, see Sunday's game, Stroman versus Scooball. Thanks, Jason. So you could don't bet on that game. Don't bet the Yankees on that one. But you never know. It's such an unpredictable sport. I just want them to just keep winning series. I don't care how you do it.
Yeah.
You want to blow them out in the game. You want to make it a tight, pitches duel. Just win the series. Just keep winning series because that's going to help you.
Yeah.
Donald?
Right. Well, there's some people to pay attention to. Could be the revenge series for Gio Urshela. But there are some guys to pay attention to. There's Kerry Carpenter, got an OPS of just under 1,000, 952. He's ascending, 287 batting average. Riley Green has their most home runs on the team, 17 home runs and 51. Obviously, it pales in comparison to what we have, but he is someone to pay attention to. And they are on a semi-hot streak. Baez hit a home run to help them get a sweep over the Mariners. So, 59 and 63, they're not the worst team in the world. They've got some talent there. Their pitching has Tariq Skubal, who's just absolutely ridiculous. He's having a crazy year. 14-4 with a 2.50 ERA. He's been great. Got Jack Flaherty, who the Yankees absolutely should have traded for. So they got some good pitching. It's not going to be a walkover this series. I mean, listen.
No.
Let's be honest. The White Sox gave us all we could handle. They gave us all we could handle. And they have nothing. As I said before, the three of us could get a pinch hit at bat for the Chicago White Sox. They got nothing, and they absolutely blew us out the building in Game 1. Game 2 was kind of tight for a while. And Game 3 was kind of tight in the first 4 innings until we blew it open. So it wasn't as much of a walkover as it should have been. So I'm telling you, these Tigers can play. I expect Skubal to pitch pretty well against us. Stroman Skubal is not a great matchup for us. So it could be interesting. The Tigers have their tails up. So, hey, if the Yankees take 2 out of 3, I think I'd be pretty happy with that.
Tigers still have something to play for also. I don't underestimate them, too. I still think back to, early in the season, and this goes around to, games that the Yankees have lost where they should have won, like where they won one strike away, like against the Red Sox, where they had a lead in the ninth inning, and then they blew it thanks to Mr. Clay Holmes. Remember, the Tigers were one of those teams where we stole one from them. They were leading 1-0, and then in the ninth inning, we scored 2 runs. I think Anthony Rizzo hit a 2-run homer to steal that one from them. So that was one of our gets. We're more often than not forgiven.
The big thing that we can take advantage of the fact is the Tigers just don't have much power in their lineup. I mean, they rank 25th in OPS. I believe they're 21st in home runs. Yeah, they're 21st in home runs. They don't have much power at all. So the Yankees should be able to keep them in the park. And if they keep them in the park, then our offense should be able to do the job. That's the big difference between the two teams. They've got nothing in terms of power. We've got more power than we know what to do with. So we should be able to keep them in the park, and we should be able to leave the park with Soto and Judge, and maybe Stanton can maybe pitch in as well.
It's execution, Donald. Bobby, I know that we got to get going, and I don't mean to suddenly change the subject, but I'm going to change the subject because for us baseball fans, this is a significant day. This is the anniversary, the 30-year anniversary of the Major League Baseball lockout or the Major League Baseball strike from 1994, whichever you want to call it. And for Yankee fans, it's significant because for those of us who remember it, I think I'm the elder statesman here, so I probably remember it, was impacted by it best. The Yankees in 1994, around this time of year, were in first place, about 9 games ahead. And it was the first time they were in first place in August since 1980. In between 1980 and 1984, the Yankees had some pretty difficult seasons, including the very dreadful 1990 season, and 1991, 1989, 1992, 1982. Those weren't such great seasons also. I also lived through the 1981 strike, which happened in the middle of the season and was resolved after 8 weeks. So this was my second strike, but it was my first strike to go through as an adult. The thing that really astonished me at that time was that Major League Baseball eventually canceled the playoffs and they canceled the World Series. And I think when you look back on, the things that could have been and the losses that the Yankees have had, it's up there with the loss to the 2001 World Series with the Diamondbacks, the unimaginable loss to the Red Sox in the 2004 ALCS, and other things as well. Because for me, I was restoring my love for baseball and the New York Yankees at that time. I was coming back to it. They lost me for a few years, but I was coming back to it. But I was also coming back to a team where none of the players that I idolized or saw as my heroes as a kid were there anymore, except for Don Mattingly. And the Yankees were on their way to finally getting Don Mattingly to the World Series. If you bet on the Yankees to win the World Series in 1994, people would probably say that was a pretty good bet to make. It was also a good year for the Montreal Expos. They really didn't have a good playoff history. They hadn't been in the playoffs since 1981, and they looked like a team that could get there as well. But the Yankees looked like they were going to finally deliver Don Mattingly to the World Series, and it is just such a shame. More of a shame, I think, than the 1995 loss to Seattle, taking Don Mattingly down with it. It was such a loss to think about what could have been with that team. And I think we've learned a lot, that baseball, especially, I think the thing we've learned most is what a business baseball is these days. What an incredible time. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that or what your thoughts were around that time.
No, when you think of the 94 strike, that is what it was. It wasn't just a lockout. It was just flat strike.
Yeah.
The way that it changed the course of history without realizing it at the time.
Yeah.
More so than anything, I think it's Mattingly is the most that's cursed by that strike. Because think of the Hall of Fame discussion. Look how that would be altered if he had the World Series. Even with his short playing career, that could have been the swing to be like, all right, you might not have had the years, but look, the MVPs, the accolades, and the ring could persuade some people to vote in his favor regardless of the years played.
Yeah.
So that's the repercussion. And, he's the one that fell the victim to it the most.
Now, Donald, I was a youngster for the 81 strike. I'm guessing you would have been a youngster for this strike. What were your thoughts?
I was 10 years old in the 94 strike. So I do recall it, and it was a dark stain in history, but it really affected my grandfather a lot more than it affected me because I was still kind of young, but he was really upset about it. But winning cures all else, and when the Yankees came back in 95, they had a heck of a team, and in 96, that's when it all came together. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So it was okay, but it's a big loss because we should have been able to see Donnie Baseball get his opportunity in October, and that really sucks. And it maybe changed the fact that he probably should have gone in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he would have played the full season. He would have gotten in the World Series. Let's say that Don Mattingly hit 400 in the World Series. Hit 2 or 3 home runs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It would have put his name on the map.
Yeah.
And I think for Yankee fans, we would have liked, to say Don Mattingly, he was in a World Series. Don Mattingly has a ring. I think it would have filled an emptiness that Yankee fans still have today. We wanted this for him.
I know that he probably still to this day thinks about it.
Yeah.
How could you not?
Yeah, and it's the talk with Mattingly. It's also not to dismiss the achievements of because he wasn't the only one on the roster.
Yeah,
but it's Mattingly is Mattingly. He's a different entity from that era.
Yeah,
but no, it's depressing. It really is. So thanks for that, Spence.
Thanks for letting me share that. Also, one little bit of irony too. The Chicago White Sox were one of the last teams the Yankees played in 1994, and I went to the Yankees versus the White Sox at Yankee Stadium. Again, about a week before, the Yankees blew out the Sox that game. I think it was 10-2. So the irony is that we recently played the Sox and beat them 10-2 as well. Just the way my mind thinks.
No, it's all come together.
Common threads, some common threads there. But that was a tough time. And I think, for me, now being an adult, but still seeing Don Mattingly on the team, it really, it heartened me. And I really felt for him when he didn't get that chance.
Yeah. And Ken's throwing a comment out here. He goes, he was an adult for both strikes. A lot of fans walked away from the game. The Sosa and McGuire home run chase brought a lot of fans back to the game. I know a lot of people that since that strike, they have not watched a pitch. They just completely get, the greed of sports. They just turned away from it completely.
Yeah,
and never look back. So
Ken's spot on because baseball really, really benefited from the McGuire and Sosa home run chase. It was historic and memorable, and it's quite remarkable that despite baseball raking in the millions from watching that incredible race, they both turned the baseballs turned the back on both of them.
But going back to the strike, I just remember how contentious it was. I remember Donald Furr, who was the Players Union representative. I remember him coming out giving his updates about the negotiations. One thing that seems to have been consistent is it always seems that the owners make the players seem like the bad guys, so to say, in these things. Because we saw that happen with the 2022 negotiations. I would hope that baseball learned its lesson and would learn. Well, they have learned their lesson. They've learned not to have a CBA expire in the middle of the season. So that's one thing that's good. So that definitely helped. But I would hope, that, both sides would learn, the importance of baseball, because I think the reaction of the fans in 1995 was really telling. The fans can make they can make a difference. I hope.
I read the Mike Lupka book, summer of '98, and it was about the Yankees' historic win record, plus the McGuire Sosa home run chase, and the importance of it in terms of bringing baseball back to America's sport, because of the disenfranchised fans after the strike in '94. So Ken's spot on, man. It's a very accurate depiction. That '98 season brought baseball back.
Yeah. I hope Major League Baseball doesn't do anything like that again, where they have to bring fans back and they need another home run chase, or they need something else to get fans back. I hope that they're able to work it out better, because I tell you, one thing that we never want to see happen is a full season cancellation ever to happen. And my fear is that, despite, lessons learned, I fear that that's something that we've got to look ahead at, and is coming one of these seasons. Let's hope it's not too soon.
Yeah. No, I don't think that. I think there's too much money to be lost to just completely shut the sport down. I think they learned their lesson. I think they felt the ramifications of it, from 2020.
Yeah.
Even the money they lost through the pandemic.
Yeah.
They're not going to put themselves in a position to ever go in the red.
Yeah.
The Olympics were a disaster in 2000.
This is why we've got to always remember the 1994 strike. Very important to remember.
Yeah.
It's not something that we exalt, but it's something that we are reminded of to make sure that we don't make mistakes in the future.
Yep. You're right. So there's a little history lesson for everybody, or a refresher course for any of us older guys. But Spencer, I appreciate the history on that. Also, make sure you check out Spencer's trivia question of the week on Sunday with the Upper Deck Show with Lynn and Sierra. So do make sure to check that out at 11 on Sunday. But with that being said, I do want to thank everybody that hung out with us this morning. Went into a little bit of extra innings there, which is always fun to do with you guys, especially if the conversations are really keep coming in quality like. But just remember, hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the strangers on the corner. And as we always say, with those pinstripes of pride, and play hard.
We're going to be can, everyone.
Take it easy.